Well, today marks 19 years since the September 11th terror attacks changed this nation forever and security across New York City.
Today, New York's Katherine Creag's in Lower Manhattan with more. Kat.
And Darlene and Michael, as you know, it is a particularly difficult day, especially for the FDNY, the NYPD, the Port Authority Police Department. New York City Police lost 23 officers on that day 19 years ago today, and we are very privileged to be joined live now with Commissioner Shea from the NYPD. Commissioner Shea, you were a lieutenant 19 years ago. What was that day like for you?
Well, it was a day, Katherine, like no other. It's hard to believe as we stand here looking up at that building that it's been 19 years. I just think about the people and the entire experience that day, a day that nobody could have predicted and was impossible really to describe if you weren't there. But I quickly continually come back to the loss of life and the sacrifice, and I think that's what's most important, to renew our vow that we will never forget their sacrifice.
Oh, absolutely. And Commissioner Shea, I know hundreds of other police officers have lost their lives. They've become sick from 9/11 related illnesses. How does that affect you and the police department right now?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that was on the police force 19 years ago was involved in this recovery or that day in some way, shape, or form, whether it was landfill recovery or down here in this general area. It's something that we struggle with to this day. It's a real problem for the men and women of this police department who, you mentioned hundreds that have lost their life since that day, but there's thousands that are still affected by, illness, some more serious than others.
And then what should people know about or just think about? Because terrorism is still, of course, a problem that the NYPD, it's forefront in the NYPD's minds.
Yeah, and that goes back to the never forget, and that word has a lot of meaning for us. Certainly to the 23 members that lost their lives that day, and our heart goes out to their families, and many of which will be with shortly. But it's also about the time, and I think that over the course of time, some people have forgotten the threats that we face and the work that goes into making sure that this city remains as safe as possible. NYPD members with our partners will be out there in force today, as we are every day, to make sure that this remains the safest city in the world.
Commissioner Shea, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kat.
And we'll send it back to you, Darlene and Michael.
All right, we appreciate Commissioner Shea talking with us this morning. Kat,